Manavsi Hedina Tahirović Sijercic. Vesem Romni Kataro Bosna i Hercegovina. My name is Hedina Tahirović Sijercic and I'm a Roma woman from Bosnia and Herzegovina, from Sarajevo. Originally from my Romani Mahala Gorica, which is the most beautiful and the oldest mahala in Sarajevo and in Bosnia and Herzegovina. I'm working as the coordinator for the Roma of Bosnia and Herzegovina with the Ministry of Human Rights and Refugees here in Sarajevo. But this is just the work, the job that I'm doing right now. All my life I study Romani language, even though I'm a Roma woman. Why I'm telling that is because in my family we didn't speak Romani. My father or my mother, my grandparents, maybe just between them in order not to talk beside children about things that are not for children, and because of circumstances that our Roma live in Bosnia and Herzegovina in poverty, which you see already, Debbie, in our mahala in Sarajevo. I used to talk just Bosnian language, actually Serbo-Croatian language at that time, like my parents did. And the first meeting with Romani language, spoken Romani language, was at the time that I started to work on the radio program for Roma people in Bosnia and Herzegovina.
What year? What year was that?
It was in '86. It was the program called Lače Žive Romalen in Radio Sarajevo, and after that the program for television called Malavi Pe, which means meetings. The first translation ever was the newspaper information because of call for people who are going to work Romani programs for radio. I asked my neighbor to say me word by word what does it mean, and in order to create information in Romani language and to show how to speak on the test that I had before being accepted for radio program. I already finished the university for journalism in Sarajevo, but it wasn't enough to start to work Romani program because of language. And of course I have to study and I have to get into Romani, spoken and written Romani. Until that time I just was listening to Romani because neighbors in my mahala, they spoke Romani. But what was the problem? Problem was the poverty and sometimes criminals that were doing the things around, and my father liked to protect us, and in that order he didn't give us so much how to say possibility to get into relationship with other neighbors in order to keep us quiet and going to school and to get education, to get jobs and to say normal life. It was really a great experience. You know, you speak Serbo-Croatian language and you are there as an editor and diploma journalist to work on a radio program in Romani language. How could I do that? I never spoke Romani and never wrote and never went publicly in Romani language, you know. It was really great experience. I took the dictionary from Rade Uhlik, which was really good academic and Romolog. He wasn't Rom, but he was originally from Sarajevo. And I went to his home, I visited him, I spoke to him, and I started to learn Romani. Until today, believe me, I study Romani because it is never enough because of our different dialects, which is spoken between different Roma in different countries, and this is satisfaction, even though some people say it is one Romani language, which I agree, but you know, there are differences that you have to catch. There are differences in dialect, there are differences in morphology, even though in pronunciation, and if you do not know enough one dialect, you can't catch the other dialects. And in that situation, people to defend themselves, they say to other person, the other person doesn't know enough Romani, or this person doesn't speak good Romani. This is just because they don't know enough the other language, and they don't know enough circumstances of learning Romani in a specific country. Because specific country has specific how to say way how to let Roma speak and learn Romani in their original countries. This is another problem. How to include Romani language into the educational system of the country that we are living in. This is the biggest problem, because if child doesn't know original language of the country, spoken official language of the country, and comes into the school with knowing just Romani language, there is classification of child, of any other adult person, so bad that you can't believe that. But this is just because people don't have sensibility for the Romani language in the countries that Roma are living in.
Is that included in the schools here in Bosnia?
No, they are just Romani taught in the way as courses, but temporary courses over some projects which are mostly international projects, and it's held for just maybe a month or two, and it is gone. In that view, you don't have systematic learning of the language. Even though the Roma who speaks language, they speak just like is spoken in family. This is something else than language spoken in school, or language spoken with the other groups, with other Roma in other countries, etc. This is the huge problem.
What dialect is mostly used in international meetings?
In international meetings, I think it is used mostly kind of Gurbeti, which is close to Kalderaj dialect, or to Lovari dialect. Those are Vlah groups of dialects that belongs to Vlah dialect, you know.
So do you think if a young student wanted to become a Romani translator, it would be useful to learn the local dialect and an international dialect?
We do not have any specific international dialect, you know. We have many dialects. But I think, and my opinion is, that it doesn't matter which dialect you speak, you could understand the other person. Or if there is any situation to interpret, then you have to be careful to find a specific speaker of the dialect that should be interpreted
Mm-hmm.
or should be translated. Then in order to get a little bit deeper into translation, you have to study another dialect and to see comparison between them. And then you would be able to know the language and to translate internationally. In that way, I can speak like specific international dialect, because we have language, Romani language. In that way, we should speak as a standardized Romani language, not international dialect or international language.
Mm-hmm. Are there any standardization projects here in the Balkans?
Of course, we have just a project which leads NGO Kalisara from Sarajevo on the area of region of ex-Yugoslavia. But it is going slow because of all donors and because of some other things which are going between people who are working here with the language and about the language and literature for Romani literature or literature which is written by Roma. I don't think it is going to come to standardization very soon because of all components which are taking back all these procedure.
And do you think is there a demand, or is there an increasing demand for translation of literature that has been written by Roma writers?
I think it is necessary to have translators for Romani literature. We don't have that. In the global problem, as a global problem actually, I see the publisher politics. Publisher politics in each country is non-Roma politics, and this is the politics of those who have power in the country. There is no place for Romani, for Roma people and for Romani literature. I would be very glad if there would be in the future translators for our Romani politics and publishers for Romani publications. We should, I think, work as a Roma a lot for, to advertise our work in order to get more attention from non-Roma people and non-Roma who are working with literature, who are translating literature, and to ground on group who can start to present our literature in Romani language, in other languages, to make closer our thoughts and our skills in writing to the other people.
If you had to choose, if you had to design a program to teach some literary works, or to expose children in high school, say, to Romani literature, how would you do it? Given all the dialects and all the different writings, would you include anything about translation?
Of course, but everything is in translation. You know, if you are going to teach, it doesn't matter if this is of those are children or adults. You start to speak in the language, in official language, and then you say something or you introduce something in Romani. This is right away translation. Many of our children don't speak Romani or don't speak official languages. In that way you have to make translation again. Our adults, if they are going to official schools, they are attending schools in official languages, they don't have approach to Romani language, to Romani literature, because we do not have Romani literature or literature written by Roma in official educational system, which means even though for children or for adults you have to work with translation. I could give you an example. I published in Bosnia and Herzegovina children's stories and fables, and in order to get that into the market, I wrote it in Romani first, but I thought, what should I do with children and with adults that they don't speak Romani? You know, then I have to translate that in Bosnian. Then after that I was thinking, yeah, but now see what is that with this migration and our Romani people overall. I have to live in Germany. What should I do for children living in Germany, our children living in Germany, because I was teaching children in Kel, in Amaro Care Centrum, and I started to translate my stories, children's stories in German language. Then I had to move to Toronto because I got deportation from Germany as a refugee from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and I came to Toronto, and then what should I do? I have to start to study English as well, because I don't know official language of Canada. Right? I speak Romani, I speak Serbo-Croatian, I speak German. Oh dear God, what should I do now? And then I started to translate it, my stories into English. In that way I started to study English as well. Everything is translation. You know, my stories you could read in 4 languages. This is great. I would like them to have in many other languages that exist in this world. So many people would read that.
And you're also a prolific writer, a poet, and you've translated yourself too.
Of course.
What has been your experience translating yourself?
You know, I think that the biggest challenge in translation is to translate myself, because I know exactly in which word I should use for a specific word in Romani or in other language. I know exactly what means each thought in my writing, in my poem, in my novel. I know exactly. But with the other, translating the other, I have to think. I have to catch the meaning of other people, exactly what they would like to say. And this is very difficult. If you have to know first the person, you have to be introduced to this person, you know, especially if it is going about poetry and novels, prosaic work. You have to know what is mentality of this person, character of this person, and then go into the work that he is doing. I think this is really necessary to know. And then start to think, and always being in contact to know exactly how to put the sentences and the thoughts in the words, in translation.
Are there any concepts in Romani, the language or culture, that are very difficult to translate into another language that's not Romani?
Of course, first of all, because in Romani language we do not have so many words that we can describe exactly words of an official language. We have to use a lot of neologisms, you know, and we have to use a lot of descriptions for some things or word that is just with one word shown in another language. And I think it is necessary to do in that way. you have to go a little bit brighter to explain what does it mean. In another situation, you can say that just in one word.
Mm-hmm.
It means you have to know exactly how to bring translation in Romani to Roma people in easiest way, in common way to Roma, because no great number of Roma can read and can write Romani.
Right, and so this, I would imagine, would be problematic for legal, government, sometimes government services,
Of course.
medical.
Yes.
All of these would be...
Or political. Even
Right.
though I have experience working for government and translating how to say, piramno ando cer, piramno saro cer. This is like way to the government, you know, and you have to use all those words, parliament and delegates and all those words that are used for that kind of brochure. But you don't have that in Romani. And then you have to use the words that are usually in official language of the country, adding the suffixes or prefixes that sounds Romani, and this is terrible. And this is terrible, you know. And in an standardized way, we do not have those words. Delegate is not a Romani word. We put delegato in order to know what the delegate is. You know, this is not just in English or in Bosnian. This is overall the same experience. But I think that through the translators which are going to be educated on a proper way, you know, with a degree that should be basis for hiring some translators, we could have a group which is going to work on that kind of job, to make specifications for some words, to make terms of the words that should be used in such literature or translations that is needed.
Exactly, which is what we do in translation anyway,
right.
But it would be
because see, I do not have so much interest to translate economical texts, or I don't have interest to translate political text, but I do what I like. And I know what I don't like. I like to translate children's stories. I like to translate novels and poetry, but all other stuff I don't like to translate. And the problem with our Roma translators are that they don't choose what they can. They take everything in order to get money. You know. The money is not just value that you finish some translation. You have to know the material, you have to know thematic to get done translation for somebody.
And lastly, I'm wondering if you would be kind enough to read one of your poems in Romani to us and give us a little translation and tell us what it's about. Do you have a little poem that you could share with us?
Okay.
Okay. And this is from your book called
Duke Pain. Published by Magoria Books.
Okay.
In Toronto. Khuf. Romnie. Pala mulet hai juvinde. Pala e Roma. Del armaja e phuviace. Te našiares šimijake, te našiares dušmaja. O Romnie, pala mulet hai juvinde, pala e Roma, Tchuv teleshorecha pchuv, haidel armaya kalesu binache, teho haives bilache, teho haives kalierat. O Romnie, palamulet hai juvinde, pale Roma, dele pchuviache čohani pet hai, del čo mrtik pala okami pe, neke jak nadhuvljardel, neko dumutni pe nabuhljarel. Delo čohani pet Romnie, del čo mrtik palalas, vojsi čiri, mrni tchajdevleski dei, pchuv. The earth. Romnie, Romnie, because of all the dead and all the living, because of the Roma, put a curse on the earth, to destroy the rats, to destroy the enemy. Romnie, because of all the dead and all the living, because of the Roma, turn the earth upside down and predict black destiny, to distract the devil, to distract the black night. Romnie, because of all the dead and all the living, because of the Roma, cast magic upon the earth and predict love, predict a fire without smoke, predict damnation with the end. Cast a magic spell, Romnie, save her. She is yours, she is mine, Mother of God, the earth.
Thank you very much, Adina, for spending this time with us.
You're welcome.